God has made, and I'm going to rejoice and I'm going to be glad in it. Thank you again for those who traveled with Pastor Curry on Friday evening. Ushers, you may be seated. And those who gave your time and your persons to sit and listen to such a wonderful expression of what has become known as the seven last sayings of Christ. I'm sure that he said much more, but the Bible has already set the precedent that what he said and did cannot be contained in the volumes of books, neither would the time allow it. So you can only imagine what percentage of Christ we are experiencing, and then you multiply that, you'll find out that we're missing a lot. But let us stay in the orientation of what we are now experiencing in this season, that is the ideology and the theology and the welcoming expressions of what we have come to know as the resurrection moment, the resurrection day. It's all about Christ. It's all about what he said that he would do, what he did, and then what he said about what he did. So I'm going to talk today on the pre and the present and the post-resurrection, or before, during, and after the resurrection. I'm going to be succinct, not only with the season, but with what we have heard, read, and Pastor Curry rehearsed to us the words of the song that was sung by the Crabb family, I think it is. What wonderful, wonderful words. And I pray and I thank God for the author of that song, who did an excellent job at reminding us of some pivotal points as it relates to the resurrection. When we talk about things that are known to be traditional things that only Christians do, sometimes we are mocked. People said that we only come to church to CME, Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter, and they got us on that. They got us on that. They tear us up on that. As someone said yesterday, the only reason y'all going to church is because it's Easter. First of all, it's not. It's resurrection. But yes, we are going because of that. But that's not the reason we're going. But we're just glad that we're here. It is a blessing to be here, to be able to sit and comprehend some principles, some truths, parables and metaphors that all indicates that God cared enough for us to give us his only begotten Son. And it's not a fanciful or a chimerical or apocryphal reality to us. It is a true reality because we have experienced him. Everyone in this place, in some way or another, you have experienced Christ. You have given credit to Christ for saving you and for delivering you and not letting you go to jail and getting you off of the side of the road. Often you refer to it, God, I thank you. If it had not been for the Lord, I don't know what I would have done. But those things are necessary for us to hear this morning because all of us have experienced what you are now expressing. Your experiences are the premise of your expressions. And when you sing today and when you clap your hands, I believe that you're saying, thank you, Lord. That what we don't understand, and if we could understand, we probably could not explain it, but we are appreciative to every effort given to make us know and have consciousness about the resurrection. It's a tough thing to understand. It's even tougher to believe. You have to really be faithful to believe that there is a man that died and was buried and rose again. That's unheard of among the unfaithful minds. It is true also as to the origin of his existence, the fact that there is and has been written in every book having to do with Christianity, a parcel about the Immaculate Conception. The Immaculate Conception, a woman that carries a child and was never with a man. That is a difficult thing to believe for the unfaithful. But to those of us who are the faithful, we've come to understand that faith is the substance of the things hoped for, the results. You have to believe in the results as you have decided that this will be my belief. And do not apologize to anybody for your belief. You don't have to apologize for being a Christian. It's a good thing to be. I've been one of those for over 50-something years, and it has been a great experience. I have had knowledge of other religions, and I am not in no means or by any way am I trying to, with any type of prejudice toward other people. But Christianity has been good for me, and it has been good for you. I was thinking earlier about all of us, and I wonder, do we think often enough of what life would be if we weren't saved? What life would be for us. Because there is a life-changing experience that the greater part of this congregation can attest to. And it happened during the time when we were saved. My life changed. My way of thinking changed. My directions in life changed. So something must be given credit for that, as they say. And I give it to God's creation. Creation being the only thing that I know that's not prejudiced. Only creation. Everything else is denominated, and to every denomination there are prejudices. Be it a man, a woman, a boy, a Baptist, Methodist, animals versus boat, cars. Anything that is a denomination has within it certain prejudices. That brings me to this point. When we talk about things that's fanciful to some who are not the faithful, when we mention things that are known to be miracles to those who have not matured to believe God, they sometimes have a tendency of boring you, or to those who are excited. It is because you recognize that God did not have to let me experience this, but boy, am I glad that he did. How many of you sit today and you're very glad that you have experienced that part of life that includes salvation? Let's give God a hand praise for that. It is common for us. Let's talk a moment about before the resurrection. Let's set the stage. The stage is set as we are today. There are things going on, and a few of them are weird enough for us to notice strangeness. And that strangeness pushes us either to be curious or to call it a bunch of junk. You know, if no, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I remember when fiber optic opportunities came, and when the flip phones, and I was introduced to becoming part of that operation. I was in a company called I worked for Excel Telecommunication, and they brought in this new stuff called the flip phone, and one day we're gonna be doing internet and all that stuff. The fiber optic wasn't even laid then, so I could not fathom those blue and red and orange and green lines going underneath the ground, and I can pick up a phone and I can say, how many dog breeds are there? And somebody says, is this all you need to know? And then they're telling me that stuff, right? Because right then I could have used some help in life, period. I could not fathom that, though. No, I couldn't fathom that. I forgot to remember, and I will not forget to remind you that everything that is talked about is done already. There is nothing new under the sun. We will always be behind knowledge. Knowledge have always gone before you to set a precedent for your thinking. However, sometimes because thinking is not tangible, because listening is not tangible, because consciousness is not tangible, we sometimes miss some very important knowledge that's handed to us. Like, for instance, Jesus saying, something spectacular will happen to me one day. I want to always be here with you. I know that we're having a good time now, but you guys, you're going to have to prepare to be without me. They said, okay, Jesus, you're talking a bunch of junk now. You're not going anywhere. You know, sometimes it's given to us. Mama can be 95 years old, and the doctor says she has 2 weeks. We walk in, and Mama says, children, Mama got to leave, y'all. No, Mama, Mama, you ain't going to leave. Well, you know, I understand what we're doing. We're protecting something that we don't want to see happen, but it also pushes us to denial. So when Jesus says to people who uses him as a codependent escape route, they didn't really believe in him as much as they needed him. The Bible stipulates that many of them followed him because they needed him, not because they did not believe, not because they believed in him. And every now and then he did this stuff called a miracle right before their eyes. He did it. They had never seen it done before. They had heard about it probably, but they saw it. They saw what Jesus did, and still they could not push themselves to believe any further than what they had just seen. They saw it. I mean, how this is impossible. And then some of the smarter ones start looking at the sun and asking the rain to please answer the question as how these phenomena can take place. You know, people are always searching for answers to make what God does in power logical. It can be tricky when you replace faith with logic. It can be very tricky. You be very careful of thinking about you have to 2 + 2 = 4. Not always where faith is concerned. I know where 2.5 and 2 + 7 equal feeding thousands in the Bible. I even have in my Bible, imagine this if you can, a man actually walking on water. Now I do need your help here because some of the water was not so deep. And others, well, maybe he was tied to a rope or something, and it's hard to believe it. Yeah, and you make yourself foolish trying to answer why it's not true. You come up with all kinds of things that doesn't make sense. Now here it is, turbulence, and you believe that the water, the boisterous winds are blowing the water, and yet you say the water was not very high. I'm sure that would not be waves if it wasn't so high. So when you start trying to be logical, you're going to miss your chance to be faithful. Now, I'm not suggesting that you ought to go occultic and not use logic. Yes, use logic, but use logic to believe in the possibilities. If God is as phenomenal as you think he is and say that he is, if he's unfathomable, if he's incomprehensible as I believe that he is using our definitions, then I believe that there is nothing too hard for God. And if I believe that there's nothing too hard for God, him saying then that I'm going to be crucified. And I'm going to be crucified to the point where you're going to be afraid. And I'm going to be away from you a couple of days, 3 if you don't mind. But I'm coming back. Never heard of. Never heard of. Ain't nobody coming back. Well, that little boy said, what you talking about, Jesus? You know, never heard of it. The resurrection. This is some type of game Jesus is manipulating us to believe in. I guarantee you he's going on a vacation somewhere, trying to find somebody, because you know they say he and Mary Magdalene. Well, let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone. But Jesus is trying to convince us that something that has never happened in reality in me before is going to take place. And I'm just going to believe him because he says it? No, Jesus said, no, look at the works that I've done. You remember the various things that we've just experienced? No man can do those things except the Father sent me to do so. So he says, what do you want me to do more than I have already done? I have shown you who I am. I have shown you exactly what I must do in order for you to have a chance to fulfill your purpose. Then what else? Well, Lord, you know, I know I saw that, but Lord, I've been on the street a long time, and all kind of things. See, these are human thoughts now. Because if you're not prepared to believe what Jesus is saying, you are prepared to disbelieve him. You are prepared to disbelieve what he's saying. Something must be wrong with him. Something is going on. There's no way in this world that we are going to give it. And see, what happens is when this happens, you will lessen your responsibility to help this phenomenon, to help this miracle, to help this powerful thing to take place. So while Jesus is praying and preparing his physical body to be the example for all of us to know, suffering is part of what Christians do. They are asleep. They are asleep. These are those loyalists who are asleep. You know, they were the loyalists because he asked them to go to a particular place with him to watch his back, because the mob was on the way down. So they kind of changed directions there. But the mob was on the mob that he was talking about was on the way. And so he says to his loyalist, y'all watch my back while I go and pray. I don't want you to fight for me. I can call legions. I'm putting this thing together of angels to fight for me, but just watch my back. So he is assured, isn't he? He's assured that he has back watchers. He's assured of the fact that those who say they are Christian and they are drive to die, what is the ride to die? Ride or die Christians. He is sure that he has picked three of the most loyal people he can ever be. But loyalty has nothing to do with security, as security would then pale to what it has to do with sacrifice. Now, they're willing to watch his back, but I don't know about this dying for you stuff. Now, when you can sacrifice your life, now you are my loyalist. Some try to get credit for being able to, hey, Jesus, I promise you, I'll die for you. And you can hear Jesus saying words, words, words. But the individual being offended that Jesus does not believe that I'm loyal when everything I'm doing says disloyal. So were they pathological then? Were they trying to convince Jesus that even Jesus didn't know what Jesus knew? Because you say, I'm not going to do what I said I'm going to do. Jesus, I'm going to do it. I'll die for you. No, listen to the chicken. The chicken going to tell you. The rooster is going to say something about you that I'm going to throw it. Before he really get through crowing, you're going to deny me. Oh, no, hold on. No. I come to grips with something. I come to grips with many times we're just not strong enough to know that we're weak. And so we perpetrate a strength that does not require us being responsible. When my workers are not capacitated or proficient or safe enough for certain machines, I ask them not to use that. Don't use that machine because you probably aren't conscious, nor do you have the wherewithal. And it takes consciousness and wherewithal for all of us to make it as Christians if you're going to grow. You better know what your surrounding is doing, and you better know what you are expected to do only. Because in the human body, there's a propensity for wanting to do what we should not do. Like wanting to hang with Jesus and you know you're not a loyalist. But boy, what kind of street cred did they get? James and John, especially for going up to Gethsemane with Jesus. Peter, okay, but James and John too? Wow. Boy, I can just see the people. And they think they're better than we are. Well, it seems like they might have something on y'all. Because Jesus did ask them to go up there and watch with me while I pray. He didn't even ask them to pray with him. Imagine that. You ever get that? Jesus didn't trust them praying for it. He didn't ask them to pray for it. Y'all just go with me and watch my bag. I mean, but don't worry about the prayer. I got the prayer. Somebody say, I got my prayer. You better have it. You better have enough to pray for yourself. Because unless a person has been resurrected from the cowardice propensities that we all carry, from the weak and frail proclivities that we all are made up of, unless you have surpassed that, you bear watching. You bear watching. So they did what they could do, what they were capacitated to do, and they did the best job they could do at it. So good they did it twice. It doesn't appear to me that Jesus was so much surprised. I know the Bible said, what? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? The truth is, no. I tried 45 minutes, but that's like me sitting in that chair trying to watch. I don't care what movie it is and what game it is. When my wife said to me, baby, you went to bed at 2:30, I have already forgotten the time I went to bed, but I do know that sometime in between night and dawn, I go to bed. I don't mean to. I mean to watch the movie. Sometimes I want to watch the movie, I know, but I don't make it. I'm not capacitated to sit in that chair and make it through a movie. Do I have any witness? I know Pastor Carey's not either, so, because when she come up, I'm going to come up, and we're going to watch the game, we're going to watch the Falcon. About 6 minutes in the first quarter, there you go. And it's not her, baby, it's not you. It is not her, it's the chair. So I thought first time, well, maybe the chair's upset because she's sitting in first lady chair, right? So then, Michelle sits in the chair. I look over, boom. And I knew it was the chair when I saw first lady sitting in that chair, she gone too. You know what really taught me though? When Poodle sit in it. And he was watching the comic and he did it. That chair has to go. Or it has to stay. It would be better if it stayed. It would be better if we would have stayed. But who would have known the lesson that we're listening to now had we not the record that human beings fail at the most urgent times. And it's lack of essence. And when you're codependent, you are usually a liability. You're not an asset. And being codependent upon Jesus, call them spoiled if you want to, but really and truly, I mean, Jesus has spoiled them, yes. But he also told them, but I'm not spoiling you because I need you to hurt yourself. My Father can give me what I need. He said, but as humans, you got to learn that you cannot always have your way. And when you're asked to do a job that is spiritual, you have to be more responsible than you are when you ask to do a job that is just common. Spirituality requires. So all of these things were there. I'm talking about they were trying to convince Jesus prior to resurrection that you are not going anywhere. Now I'm going to throw this out there too. You can have it, keep it to Christmas and unwrap it if you want to. Could it have been that they would have really had to answer questions if Jesus is telling the truth? As long as you're thinking that this thing is not real, you can do with it what you want to. But if Jesus is telling the truth, boy, I'm in bad shape, says they to themselves. If Jesus is telling the truth, I must admit I don't believe the very God I said I'm walking with. I believe it, but I don't believe it. If he's telling the truth, let me ask my mind and my heart. Let me confer with my consciousness. I really don't believe that resurrection is going to take place. So it happens, and you know how it happens. I don't know how many of the disciples was around when they were doing all that hanging on the cross. I know a couple of nice ladies were there, and Mary and others were there, but John was there, but I don't know about the rest of them. Come on, loyalists. Come on, brothers, if we are going to take care of the church, you can't come in here and start praying when they trying to mess with something on the outside. We all got to go out there and at least act like. Me and Darryl met a man one day out there. Might have been somebody else, but we met him out there, and he was threatening. To me, he was threatening. He wasn't threatening anybody in particular, but he's just out of control and profaning and everything else. Well, I figure like this: in a minute, something's going to go down, and he's going to do something to a lady or one of these. And so me and Darryl decided to just jack him up and take him right outside, put him on the street, say, "Y'all supposed to be Christian." Exactly why we did what we did, sir. We are like saving you. And you the pastor, I'm laying hands on you to save you. I'm not trying, I want you to be saved. That's what we did. And he wasn't walking fast enough, so we thought about, well, maybe we should carry him on out of the trouble. And we did, and everything worked out all right. But we saved the children and the women. Possibly. Now, if this is true, and this is true in the natural, it's true in the spiritual. And so when all of the stuff was going on, Peter, where's Peter with that sword there? Cut that soldier ear off, Peter. Nowhere to be found, huh? Oh, I'm sure they were somewhere working for the kingdom. Needed some tithes or something, huh? So here it is. It's taking place. And when they put him in the borrowed tomb, where were they? Did they see the entry? Did they see the pallbearers? Were they the pallbearers? I don't know why they should not have been the pallbearers. Usually it's your nephews and your cousins and your brothers and stuff who carry you to the grave for the last time. God forbid some of them you didn't like, because you sure wouldn't want them carrying you, but people love to carry you as a pallbearer when they don't like you. I'm not saying those who've been pallbearer, you hate the person you were carrying. I'm just saying. But you need to like the person that you're carrying, because it can send a bad message. You know what I'm saying? Why are you so happy to be a pallbearer? Nowhere to be found. Loyalist. And so Jesus goes, now we're doing the resurrection. God, listen, you and I, let's think about this thing 3 days now. Now we are believing that he is in the sepulcher. We are believing that because they said, not because I told you it would happen, but because they said that that's what is taking place. So now we're waiting, and you know what we're asking? What are we going to do now? Because our dependency / our codependent one is gone. So now what are we going to do? Now he told you all along, don't worry about what you're going to do, because we got some more work to do. But I didn't believe then, and how do you think you're going to believe now? Because believing that somebody's going to get killed, that's one thing. But believing that they're going to get killed and they're going to come up out the grave, that's a whole bit. No, we're not believing that, not in here, not today. You have not seen your loved one that died and they buried. You might have seen them in a vision. You say, well, people come to visit, and they do, and I believe in that. I believe we have conscious visions of people. I believe that, but ain't no real persons coming. You have not gone to Ross or to Walmart with some dead uncle or aunt of yours. You have not experienced that. You're not about to believe that's going to happen. You have settled that's not going to happen. That ain't them no more. That's just their body. But their spirit is gone. But either one of them, you're not going to deal with either one of them. Not going to Walmart. Because we are not capacitated for that. We're not ready to believe that this is really our strength, that we can really handle that. It's going to really happen. And then all of a sudden, that person that you thought that maybe you should be prejudiced against, a lady comes back and she says to the loyalist, he's alive. I talked to him. Boy, here comes that old chauvinistic, narcissistic, egotistical maleness coming out of it. What you talking about, Mary? How you going to talk to you and then talk to us? You weren't there. See, you were hiding. That's like a mother don't care if it's a bear. She going at you if you got her child. Now daddy going to try to talk to you. Can we negotiate, sir? And the bear said, well, I want to eat you. And the man said, let us pray first. The man prayed, God, the bear's about to eat me and everything, and give him a soft heart and calm him down so he will not be that ferocious and he will not devour me as food. Amen. And bear asked him, can I pray now? He said, yeah. He said, Lord, I thank you for this food and for this drink I'm about to receive for the nourishment of our body. You see, the bear got a prayer too. The bear has a prayer. So now we are in trouble because we have missed a very potent, a very prominent, a very prevalent period in history. Because me, the loyalist, could have been there. Instead of that, it was given to somebody I had denominated to be an inferior source, a subordinate. And so I missed my blessing because I did not believe what he said was going to take place. And now it's taking place, and I still don't believe that God can use whomever he chooses to get his message across. She said, he's not there. Peter said, y'all stay right here. Let me run down here and check it out. Peter always wanted to put himself in position and get that credit, don't he? He went inside and he looked around. Jesus. Elwe oye uye. Pick Latin, Aye one ede uye oye uye. Amse elwe upbe elwe oye uye. Aye eke uye uye. No, you can't hear him because he ain't there. He goes back now. Hey, guys. I know y'all don't want to believe this. Oh, Peter, shut up. There you go telling all that stuff again. He ain't there for real. I wonder what happened. What happened was what he said was going to happen. No, that can't happen. Okay, let's be simple. We all married, being a boyfriend. We all got children, maybe. So I done got myself in trouble now. But we're men, and we're not just going to believe everything anybody tells us. So there we are. We're in trouble. So they're in a meeting, partnering about what they're going to do. All of a sudden, Jesus appears to them. I know these are chronological connections now. He appeared. The door's locked, the window's shut down, and he just appeared in the room. What do you think you would have thought? How many of you have seen a ghost? I mean, you say you don't believe in ghosts, but you used to. But now you don't believe in ghosts anymore. You know what? Because you watch all the television programs, and you got it lined up. Everything's even an animation ghost. It was scary. I'm telling you. Anything coming into your room when you sleep, is a dangerous thing. It's a scary thing too. I didn't know who that was. It's just me, Mama. Okay, well, child, let Mama know you're coming in. You almost got shot. That's just the way it is. Mine coming to me, hello, hey, Because they know I'll jump. The Catwoman, she come all day long. You don't even know she's in there. I kid y'all not. I jumped yesterday. I jumped yesterday because I came out the restroom. You sitting right there in my dress, got ready to sit down. There she was. Oh, my God. Where's she? I was here all alone. Sounds like a song about Jesus. He was here all alone. You know that song? There's a song about somebody being somewhere all alone. Now, the post-resurrection gets interesting. Because post-resurrection offers us something, but this time around, it sounds kind of strange. The first time, I'm going to leave you, but I'm coming back. This time, I'm going to leave you, but I'm not going to leave you lonely. I'm going to leave you with a representative. That's still kind of catchy, isn't it, for a human being? The last time I failed, I didn't believe him. This time, I think that I'm going to be part of what he's saying. Because what attracts me to what he's saying, he talks about power, and I'm going to be doing miracles and casting out devils and laying hands on the sick, and they're going to recover. I'm going to go out into all the world and preach. And that's really what I want to do. So that's easier to believe. It is connected to something that you really want to do. And so after the resurrection, all of these powerful things start taking place. It became apparent that they had the opportunity to believe in a spectacular way and had faltered that opportunity, but they have it again, and they're not going to waste it this time. And you know how the story goes. They were used by the Lord, and most of them died a death that would be somewhat indicative of the crucifixion. One was filleted, one was hung upside down. Various historical stories are there as to how they died. In my closing, do you and I want to find these opportunities to believe beyond what we see, what we can imagine, like there's nothing too hard for God. But yet that's not what the news is saying, and God is still a healer. That's not what the doctor said, and God is a deliverer. But that's not what my psychologist said. And I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me, but I don't feel that within myself. So what options do I have? Well, I want to take the option. I'm going to shop at the buffet table. Don't do that. At the buffet table, I don't do that. You pick, I think I'm this. I think I'm that. I'm insecure. I'm depressed. I'm incapacitated. I don't have this. I don't have that. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because we have not joined in our mind yet resurrection. When you join resurrection, before you think anything about you being powerful, think about the power of Christ and what he set as an example for all of us. Do not let these opportunities given to you, called tradition, but tradition or not, this is a powerful day for us. We are reminded more than any other day that we are probably in the process of being resurrected. But we got to get redesigned and realigned and reacquainted, reevaluate ourselves. These things we have to do so we can rejoin and repent, and then we can be resurrected. Resurrected within ourselves, knowing that I may have failed at one time, but the next time around, I'm going to do a better job. And the same people that didn't believe Christ had people that did not believe them. So every now and then there will be people who won't believe in you. Don't you worry about that. This is the word of God for the people of God.